Go through the formalities then. So apologies for absence. We've got apologies for absence.
Ian's away, Malcolm's away, and Terry's away.
Yeah. Okay, to accept those apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Declaration of interest, anybody? No. And then representation from interested parties. This is where Alison and yourself can speak, is it, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm not sure of the protocol.
Lovely.
No, that's fine, that's fine. Well, I'd like to introduce you to Colin. I don't know whether you've met the team before, some of the councils perhaps, but Colin runs a company in Corby called Macemen, if that's correct.
That's right, yeah.
Macemen and Amstead, who prepare and manufacture street furniture and associated bits and pieces.
Metal
Infrastructure
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
So, pretty big company. Knows what he's doing. So we've been taking advice. So basically, Colin and I are here. My name's Alison. Colin and I are here to just give you an update. I've given you all a little flyer here. It's an update on the Oundle Cycle parking proposal that we've been working on for probably it's just coming up to a year now. I've been working on this with Paul Everley. We are a splinter group from the Oundle Business Association group. The traders in Oundle get together once a month, as you know, and we're a splinter group of that to try and just work on a few little projects. So this has been our project for about the last year, and we've been working with Colin on this. So it's just an update. We did apply a while back for a grant, a community facilities fund, and we have been allocated £5,112 to spend by September 2019. And we needed a third of this match funded. Now, at the last meeting that Paul, my colleague, was in, apparently it was agreed that the council had up to £9,000 that they could contribute towards this. And we just wanted to update you really about how this is going to work. Our proposal to get things started is to do this in two phases. So phase one would be a full new bicycle rack installed. It's actually where there's an existing very tatty rack, and it's opposite what's now called the Greedy Pig. For those of you, it was Smith's at number 4 there, on the corner. So this is phase one. So a new rack would be in position there. It's about approximately 3 metres long. Secondly, we need to replace the Sheffield hoops outside Tesco's, one of which has got run over in the last 6 months or so. We propose installing some eyelets on the co-op wall. It's giving an additional bit of cycle rack parking there, cycle parking.
When you say eyelets, what do you mean by eyelets?
Eyelets. We are talking about loops that you can
the
attach.
idea
You put your chain through.
and you get them back. They can be whatever, to be honest with you, but and we can make it out of shoe, flat or whatever, something. I've just got Ali to draw this for you. She's much better than I am.
Beautifully drawn.
It's
Yes.
a ring, just sort of more of an oval shape, like a.
Which wall? We have to discuss that with Carl. We've had some initial discussions, but we haven't actually cited it yet. So, but we're trying to sort of just work out what we can do with the money.
So you've got something to lock your bike to, basically.
You'd lock your bike to it, yeah. This is an ongoing chat with Ian. We're trying to discuss having a full rack by the bus shelter in the market square, which would be 3 metres long, but it would be removable. Now, it might, the issue is obviously the Thursday market and other events. We want to make it as easy as possible to remove, so it's not going to be a nightmare every week. It may well sit at the back of the bus shelter, which seems the appropriate place because it would be tucked out of the way, or it may be sited, but it's somewhere on that part of the island. We would like to site a removable rack. Colin's got some other ideas that maybe we might be able to attach something to the bicycle shelter that could just be pushed up and down when needed.
Yeah.
So,
Although presumably we need a stagecoach to matters do that with me.
Well, we'd have
Or
to.
highways,
It doesn't matter, you could put independent posts in, so they're very, very close, and you would know the difference.
Who would do if they're removable, who
would do
be
it?
doing it?
Exactly. We do need to discuss who on a regular
Yeah.
basis,
Yeah.
What would I do? Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
something, yeah.
Yeah.
or
Well,
whether
We
it,
will discuss.
or whether it would be one of us from the business association. We'd have to create a rota to do it.
Yes, I think that's probably the appropriate thing to
Well,
do.
if it's simple enough to do, if it is
And
literally just
maintenance
a
too,
thing
yeah.
to push up, then it wouldn't be a big task, would it?
Maintenance,
Now, there's the addition of 3 portable racks. Now, these are something that Paul has looked into. These are portable racks that could be put out when there's events on in the high street. Now, I forget where Paul said they're to be stored.
Weren't they talking about Victoria Hall?
Yeah, we were talking about sticking them onto the stage in Victoria
That's
Hall,
right.
weren't we?
Yeah,
So,
that's right. So we've done some costings on that. The last little paragraph there is perhaps just to make you aware. Barnwell Country Park would also like these racks, but obviously they're not in the right parish, so that's a separate application. All right, but they'd quite like to have something that ties in and looks the same as ours, so that we would complete the story.
Yeah.
Okay. Phase 2. So let's hope we can get that done this year. We're thinking. Phase 2. We did a sketch a while back, or I did a sketch a while back, about converting the signpost into a map. We've got an existing signpost in the Market Square, which we thought we could perhaps mimic and create another signpost. That then we actually had a town map that showed visitors where the cycle paths were around the town, where the shops were, where different businesses, and perhaps get the business association involved in sponsoring and putting notes on to show where their businesses were, show where the wharf is, show where the marina is, and adjacent areas. So we're thinking stage 2, it would be quite interesting to have a map in that area. That would obviously need to be designed and costed out. There's interest apparently to have another bike rack up here at Fletton House.
Yeah.
There's interest too at St Peter's Church, subject to obviously the conservation terms and conditions there. And also the museum courtyard are very keen to get involved as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said at the bottom of these pages, I've indicated there the funds. So if we go back to phase 1, we've got all the costings there.
Yep.
So we're asking really on phase 1 to request the approval of £1,528 to match fund for phase 1. So we're asking the council if that would be acceptable to ask for those funds in order to get that started. For phase 2, we've ascertained that the council funds left would be 7,472 grants fund left, and we're asking for potentially 850 for the above potential sites. No, £857 total. Oh no, I've got that confused. Total funds left of 7,472 that are yours,
And then the others from your grant.
and the other is from our grant. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So
That's it. Thank you.
The
Yes,
point
that's
on
it.
these numbers is we've got to spend that. We've already had the money off,
Yes.
so we'd have to give it back if we don't spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And likewise, we're keen to get ours spent. So really, just to conclude, because I won't take too much of your time, we need to agree phase 1 expenditure if possible, and then we need to then review the sites and design with Ian Clark. We've been meeting Ian Clark in the town. We'd like to meet him again with Colin, and we'll have another walkabout. And we need to set the design of it and come back to you with what it looks like, really.
yeah.
But then we'd like to place the orders for phase 1 and agree how this will work as it's mixed funding. We have to apply to get our grant, produce an invoice, I believe, and then the money will be released. But it's how we go about getting the money from you,
Yeah.
whether it goes into the business association fund To get
I don't know, Jerry, we'll have to work out
Yeah.
the legalities and technicalities of it.
It might be just that the supplier invoices,
Is enough,
for
is
the
it?
dates, and the invoices you can be with, I don't know. See.
Okay, okay.
Can we just go through them one by one again?
Yes, of course.
Again, then? So phase one. So the rack outside the Green King.
Yeah.
Who can give permission to that? Because I mean, obviously, you said there's an existing rack there. I can't obviously see.
Highways.
Yes.
Sorry.
Highways.
Yeah. So highways do need to give permission. That's what I was assuming. Yeah. So
And highways have been consulted, haven't they? 'Cause
They
there
have.
were two that
They're very
highways-
much involved, yeah.
Yeah, two that highways were okay with,
so
and
is,
five that they weren't.
so that one is okay with highways.
Yes, they were fine about it. We've had a walk around town with that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any planning issues in terms of.
There might be. Because that is the place where the services, pipes and
Yes, I
cables
think
are
you
all
mentioned
very,
this.
very
You said they were
superficial.
below.
And that's why we had to have the one we've already got, which
Was on top.
you were saying was so horrible, but we fought hard to get anything at all.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is all we could have
Right.
because of these things running underneath.
Right. Okay.
So I just have to warn you that
That's fine.
there may be a planning issue of some kind or a technical issue.
So why not have
Limit
another
what
portable
you have.
one there instead? Instead of having
We-
something,
We perhaps could have a portable one there.
yeah.
It would still need to screw into the ground.
Yeah, the trouble is the idea of a portable one, especially, is that you've got to put anchors there. It's something you've got to be able to fix there. You don't want the kids at night getting hold of it, or drunk people or anything getting hold of it. There's other ways. I mean, I wouldn't let's get too bogged down in that. We would scan the area and we would look into it thoroughly before we did anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying to you that we have been through that process.
Yes.
And
Okay.
what we've got is what we were allowed to have in
Yeah.
the end. It's not what we actually asked for
No.
even remotely.
So I think all we
Okay.
need to do
So I
in
just
this
need to
is-
warn you that
Thank you.
it
Yeah.
may not be as good a site as,
Yes.
as you
We
think.
think.
I
Yes,
like
'cause
it.
it looks.
I mean, I'm dead keen for bikes to go
Yes.
there because then
It's a perfect
people
spot.
can get on the bus, you see.
Yes. Yes.
So all we need to say is, that location is good.
So you
As
able
far
to-
as we're concerned,
Are you able to scan that then? You
Yeah,
have machinery that.
Yeah, you would just CAT scan it all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're going to say no, I'm saying
No,
that
that's brilliant.
it's
No.
an utterly desirable site, but there is
There's
a
a
problem with it.
possibly a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. If someone's highlighted to us, it might be a
Yeah.
situation that makes us.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there might be now a more modern bike rack that we didn't have before.
Yeah, it sounds like there ought to be an engineering solution. Just
There ought to
just
be.
find the right solution, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one then is the Sheffield Hoops outside Tesco. So is that like for like, or is that something different you're proposing there?
Well, it would
Well,
probably be like for like.
I would have thought so.
Unless we can get
Outside.
something that's a little bit more stylised, perhaps.
Well, really, it's up to
A
you.
bit more attractive.
I don't mind either way. We could use the same anchor points because you've had the resin stone put on top.
Right.
But it has been core drilled. They're
Right.
actually quite messy bits of core concrete that have stuck into it. So I would suggest whatever we put there, we've got something there we could attach to, make it secure. We can have the Sheffield hoops, or you can have anything as fancy as you would like, really.
Well, I know from using them myself, those two outside Tesco's, you can't get more than 2 bicycles on them at the moment, so
No.
you probably could do something better in the same space.
Well, could I just sort of say to you, the reason I'm got involved with this is I'm not into this because we're making, and I don't mean this in any coy way, a profit out of it. I live in Oundle. I like the idea of the bikes coming in. I like the way that we encouraging the cycling and having things started from here. People coming in, it shows we're cycle friendly. I just like the whole concept, and I'm happy to produce it whatever way, just to make it fit for where we all live. Yeah.
Okay. And then the honest car, presumably that's just out of car, really, isn't it? Because I mean, if they want to say
Yeah.
that's their walls. Yeah. And then
Just coming back to those Sheffield hoops, the bikers, the serious bikers with the expensive bikes, the reports we've had from them are that they won't use the existing ones wherever they are, the existing hoops and stuff that we put in, because they're afraid that they might damage their bikes. They don't want
Yes.
to fix to the wheel, they want to hang them by the seat from one of these racks.
Yes.
Um,
Well, if
so-
they wanted to do that, that rack would be near the bus shelter. So these are hanging
Yeah.
racks, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the only people who would use that would be the people who currently use it, which is the people who cycle into town to do their shopping. There's quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So we certainly need to repair, if they're broken, repair
Yeah.
like for like for them to use, but the others won't use them. Let's be
No.
clear on that, because they've made that plain,
They have. Yeah.
that they don't like what we put in. They claim they're inferior for the value of bikes they've got.
We did try to put a hanging rack there in that position outside, but it was Highways that said no to it. So,
Mm.
so we've had the advice from them.
Okay.
Okay.
What's
So,
your-
that's what I was talking about,
Yeah.
you talked about that, but it seems very sensible. And then the portable racks, I think the only concern, I guess, with the portable racks is being confident that we do have somewhere to put them and that someone's going to actually pull them out when they're needed.
Yes. So, and whose responsibility?
Yeah.
The one on the Market Square also, we need to establish that somebody is going to pack that away for Thursday and Saturday markets.
Yeah.
Otherwise we will have stall holders, market stall
Yeah,
holders.
we've just gone
Yeah.
through
I know
that.
we have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I mean, it would need to be, ideally, it would need to be lockable really, so you can lock it
Yeah.
up so that on Wednesday evening or whatever, someone can go and make sure there's no bikes on it and put it away,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so that
I'm picturing when we put the cones out,
Mm.
you know, it's just another tip for you
Yeah.
put a padlock on it, you
Yeah.
know, and it's,
yeah.
it should be that easy.
It would be nice if we did make something that sort of went up against the bus shelter, because we haven't got to store it, you haven't got to transport it, it's just someone pop it up. Is there something like a key that is sort of a number key that we use in this area for various things? Because we can always match keys.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
aware.
know that there's, what is it, the fire service
Yeah,
use it,
FP2, FP3,
Well,
yeah, I think
yeah.
as well, yeah.
F2s and things, but I wouldn't be very happy if we use that, but I don't know if the local around here has got some keys that certain key holders have got.
Do the
that key.
bollards have keys, or do they?
Well,
pull up?
it's just the fact that our guys go out there for market days and put the bollards out and so
Yes.
on, so they've got a key with them, they just
Mm.
lock the thing up. You know, so, you know, I think it's going to come down to us, but it isn't, you know, another half hour's work or anything.
No.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like 3 minutes.
It's not even that, is it? If it's a 30-second job, which it sounds like it, if it's just literally just push it up and lock it away, then it's nothing, is it?
Fantastic.
And if we have a problem, we can't unlock it. You know, and it'll come down to that, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
I mean, to answer your question, in terms of, I'm not aware of any, commonly used keys. At Victoria Hall, we've got a code system.
Code system.
So
All our buildings have got a different method of
yeah.
entry.
Well, it could be something as simple as a padlock with a combination lock padlock, and then as long as we share the code with the people who are able to have it, then it's fine.
All right, well, there's a detail.
Mm. Okay.
Right. Sorry.
So I think, you know, that this is, you know, just on where we are, it's not an agenda item, it's for information.
It is, yes.
But I think what is crucial for this is now getting a project plan together. You know, so if we think we've got issues over, you know, sort of planning permission, you know, over funding release and so on, let's get them into a working document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phase one, can we approve that in this committee?
It's not on the agenda.
No, but if it comes to the next meeting,
Yeah, it was 2000.
it's up to 2000.
So I've just put on here, put on
Yeah.
next agenda
Yeah.
for March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Checking on what we agreed last time.
Would it be sensible for us to come back to that meeting with a presentation of what these are going to look like? That, or is that?
Well, it says see, what we agreed on the last one is that we put down the numbers and take it to full council.
Okay. Because it's,
So we don't, you know, rather than another look at this one in.
I would
let's go
suggest
straight to
you
full council.
just come back with, this is what we're proposing.
Okay.
We'd like this much money, and
Okay.
you can either bring it back to this because it's below 2,000, or you can bring it to a full council if that's more convenient.
Okay.
And then we'll hopefully not be through.
So the next full council, is it in 3 weeks' time, or are we on a week out?
Well, there'll be 2 weeks on it more or less, because so the full one is
It's probably 4 weeks now,
Yeah.
because we've got 1 week.
It's last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last
Yeah.
week.
Anyway, that'll get rid of, you'll be a week quicker if we go into full council. So I'll give you the date on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Great. Is that all right? Thank you very much. Slowly and surely we'll get there. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today.
No, thank you.
And we'll leave you. Thank you very much. All right. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks very much. Thank you.
See you again.
Yep, good on you.
Bye.
Right, maybe to the previous meeting. Maybe don't take them home with you. Instructions. So everybody have a chance to read them? Anything you disagree with them? No? Okay.
Do you want to propose it or do we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
I'll propose them, yeah.
Seconder? Martin?
Yeah.
Those in favour, Deb? Take your pick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay then, bunting. Starting off with the really exciting stuff, aren't we?
I know. You want to try spending hours unravelling it and checking it all.
Sorry.
Nightmare. But the good news was we only had a certain amount that was damaged.
Yeah.
The rest is perfectly all right. So we think it must have just been a faulty batch.
Okay.
Right.
So I went back to them with the pictures, told them I'd done a full survey, told them how much we needed replacing, and they've given us twice as much for free of charge.
Really
So,
nice. Yeah, okay.
Excellent.
but they did say, obviously, if you leave it out in really
Yeah.
severe weather, we can't guarantee it. So if you come back to us again, then we'll be saying no, which I said I fully
It has to
appreciate.
be weatherproof to a point.
To a point,
I mean,
but she
because it's
said,
outdoor bunting.
yeah, severe gales, though she said you
Well,
it should.
okay.
But the rest of it was fine. So I thought that was a result. Really, I was quite happy with that. And it was with me. I sent the email saying yes, we accept those terms, and it came the next day. So the service was very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Well negotiated.
Yes.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, so the next one then is about the use of the hub.
No, we're just sorry. Just one more.
New cost for
Tony,
installing it.
cost
Oh,
of
right.
installing it.
Yeah. So just on cost of installing it then, have we done with quotes for this? Is it?
Yeah, it's the same person that did it last time. Emma, I believe, got 3 quotes last time, and I think this was the cheapest. So Emma just said we'll go with the same chap again, who's willing to do it for the same price.
Right.
That's fair enough, then, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Just the other thing on that point is about when to install it, because obviously the I get mixed up with these festivals. Festival of Music and Drama would like it up in March,
Yeah.
which is a lot earlier than what we installed it
Yeah.
last year. It was the 1st of
Just
July
going to
last
say,
year.
traditionally, we've always put it up for the festival and taken it down and put it up so that it makes the point.
Right.
There's a festival on.
Right.
The thing we've always not wanted to get into having to do is leave it up,
Yes.
Right.
because then people are bored with it, it
Yeah.
gets tatty looking very
Yeah.
quickly,
Yes.
it loses its point, you might as well not spend the money on it.
But
So
we-
what-
but
So
we-
how are we going to get round it this year if we've got, will we take it down again? And
Well, the other thing we've got to, Emma, the licence people haven't come back to her yet either, because apparently they don't like it up for long periods
No.
of time. So she's, I suppose a lot of it depends on what he comes back to her and says as well. But yeah, we've got that issue of do we put it up for
Yeah.
a period, take it down again, and then put it up?
In which case you'll have multiples of £500.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well,
500 each time you do it.
if there's a festival who wants to sponsor putting it up, yeah, if they, if they want it up.
Yeah.
that's really where it's leading me, that we might have to find another way of paying for it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're agreeing that whenever it needs to go up, which, like we said, depends basically on the licence chap. But if it has to come down again, we've got to find another way of arranging it.
Do we have to pay for the licence?
I'm not sure.
I mean, and the reason I'm asking is because people might, it's actually quite a big cost if you start totting it up.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had-
yeah, I
So
know.
we own the bunting, we bought the blooming
Yeah,
bunting,
yeah.
we have to replace it.
Mm.
It's, bunting's going to become a bit like the Christmas lights,
Yeah.
an awfully expensive.
Yeah.
The other thing that occurs to me as well is that March is still, you know, winter, isn't it, really, potentially?
Yes, it is.
April,
Should we
yeah,
have to
March,
put it
winter.
up? I'm wondering.
Well, it's because Gwen Radcliffe
Oh, it's her thing,
specifically,
yeah.
she specifically
Yeah, you have
asked.
to do it for Gwen's.
I'm not sure that far.
Oh, yeah. She's done 20 odd years
Well,
on
I
this
know,
council
I
and
know, but
started the whole thing off and, you know, started the bunting and.
I mean, I think we put it
But
up
we
the
do
1st
have
of
to
July
look at
last year, didn't we? We were late putting it up because, I don't know why, but we were.
yeah.
But I mean, I would have thought June, July, August, the summer months when all the bits are happening
That
in
seems-
town is
that feels
the
right.
best
That's it.
times for them to be up,
Mm.
maximum.
Yeah,
So they might have to go up and down twice then.
yeah.
Up for March for the Festival of Music and Drama, which I think is a couple of weeks, isn't it? And then
Yeah,
come
that's
down.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Then come down and then back up again. So we might be looking at
For
double
the
that
summer
figure.
period.
Well, sorry, just clarification on the 500. Is that to put it up and take it down?
No, it's just to put it up.
That's in each direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 1,000.
Yeah, so we need £2,000 instead of £1,000.
I'll be honest, I actually, personal view is I think we should be pushing back against the March
Mm.
festival really, because I mean it's, you know, it's the wrong time of year to my mind to be putting a bunting out. We could be sat on the ground and gales
I
blowing.
know. I mean, I could explain that to Gwen and say, look, because of the issues we had, you know, but then again, you see, we had the issues with the bunting and we didn't put it up till July, so that kind of,
No,
Yeah, she was fuming last year that.
That is one of the festivals that the town is notorious for. It's famous for it.
Yes.
And this year, for the first time, Kettering won't be having their Festival of Music and Drama, which goes alongside it. That competition is lost from those choirs and other
So we may
organisations.
get more entries.
We'll get more entries, but they're dying out. I think we need to mark this occasion. We need to mark it with something, if not with bunting, then with something, to let the world know that it's an important festival in Oundle.
Maybe we could at least flag it
Well, I
up
take on board what you say.
to the festivals that we're going to have to pay £1,000 every time we put the bunting up. We may have to say to them, look, you're going to have to find
Yeah.
some funding from
Well,
somewhere.
we gave the festival a grant, didn't we? So, you know, it's sort of, we've already made a financial contribution to that festival.
Yes,
You-
yeah.
You're actually asking us to put another £1,000 in now.
Yes, it's not
just about
inconsiderable, is it?
some bunting up and take it down again,
Yeah.
which is not.
Yeah. See, we used to have the literature festival as well,
Yeah.
straight after this one, the March one, Easter. So it was up for 2 then,
yeah.
and then we took it down, and then we put it up for the others.
Well, the other way to do it is to, it's going up and down for the Festival of Music and Drama, it's then going up and down again for the other festivals. If all the festivals cumulatively contributed something towards the 2,000, so it doesn't all fall on the Festival of Music and Drama, but it fell across the lot. So that they each paid
I'm starting to get your logic.
100 or
Yeah.
so each, you know, we've got several festivals,
Yeah.
they all paid 100 or a couple of hundred each, and we chipped in, then I think it could be done at a price that they might be able to raise. But, you know, Food Festival, for example, there might be some money coming in from there, that they pay their share, I'm sure. Some of the others might struggle, but
Yeah, I mean,
that might
like
be one
in
way
fact
round.
this festival, the March Festival, because it's not a money-making thing at all.
No.
It's totally what it is, which
Yeah.
is a festival of music and drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full stop.
I just feel for the you know, if we've got £1,000 to spend, there's something to have a bigger impact on visitors than bunting.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think, you know, we move to the bunting is those 3 months in the summer.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it exists in those 3
Yeah.
months. And it seems absolutely crazy to give these people a grant and then to use that grant to put the bunting up.
Yeah.
It's like defeats the
There's
whole
there's
object.
another point about the bunting, of course, and that is that the Festival of Music and Drama is for children. And so it's much nicer for them to come to a town that's got the flags out. So I think we
That
need to
grant
think,
goes
look at
towards
it.
trophies,
Yes,
which, I mean, I know I presented some of them the last time around, so, the town council's grant goes towards providing some of the trophies
Yeah.
for these people.
So are we split on this one at the moment
Well, I take your point that it doesn't have to be bunting, but as long as we can mark the festival in some way, we'd have to talk to them and see what they felt.
I'd like to put the bunting up.
I'd like
But I
to.
would like to start a dialogue
Yeah.
with the festival
Yes,
to
yes.
say, look,
So
this
would I.
is the problem we've
Yeah.
got.
We've got to
We
move that
cannot
quickly because
spend the money.
by the
in
time we
that
get to
kind
our
of-
next meeting, we're already past the Festival of Music and Drama.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'd like
we
to
should
put it
have done
up
it
for
months
them.
ago.
I'd like to put it up for them for
Well,
this time.
well,
Why don't we
I'll go
suggest,
this time,
And
yes,
then have
and
a-
then sort it.
why don't we ask Lisa to talk to Gwen and see, explain the concerns that we've got, see how she feels. If she feels really strongly about it.
She will. She
Yeah.
went berserk last year when it wasn't up.
Yeah.
I
And
can tell you because
I mean, it is
got
one of the
brunt
things
it.
for which the town is famous. When a town like Kettering can't manage to support theirs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was at a Christmas event celebrating one of the choirs at their Christmas festival, and next to me was the mayor of Kettering, who was most embarrassed that we're still supporting a festival, and he wasn't. They weren't supporting the one in their town, and they're at least 10 times our size, if not bigger than that. So Oundle's been famous for this
No, yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
What was last year?
Makes the event.
Centenary, wasn't it? Last
Yes,
year
it was the centenary.
was the centenary, so we're talking 100 years this festival's been here.
So we're
Non-stop.
going to always support to getting the bunting up, therefore we need to find
And
some
then
way of
start
funding
the,
needs to find some way of funding it. So I think just on, we mentioned in there about timing, we better agree tonight that the bunting's going up in March,
Yeah.
otherwise we'll never do it.
No.
So
Yeah.
we've agreed the bunting's going up in March.
Okay.
What we do with it once it's up, we've got to
see, it's the health
Yeah.
and safety because years ago, and you've been one of the people who
Yeah.
stood with his foot
Yeah.
on the ladder,
Yeah.
it was done by a bloke for a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
Full
a
stop.
local builder,
Well,
Mr. Pryor,
I know.
would be up the ladder and I would be in the middle of the road.
Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
holding the stuff up while the buses are trying to pass under my arms.
No, we've got to
But,
the
it really is a new
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So we'll put it up in March.
Yeah.
and
Again, this is all subject to what the
To what
licence guy
licence
says.
people say.
You know, he might.
But yeah, but like we say, we do think we need to start a dialogue with the people that says, look,
Yeah, we do.
there is a cost to this, and if, is it really the best use of £1,000
Yeah.
to put it up and take it down again, or would you rather have that in your, would you rather have £500 in your grants?
Yeah.
Not to spend on something else.
Don't
Well,
go
we
too
don't,
far.
you know what I mean, though.
No.
It's a,
Yes,
you know,
If the
it was your
licence,
That's the
money, would you
kind
spend
of
it?
reality,
Yeah.
isn't it?
would anybody have objections though? I know it's not ideal because you want to mark certain events, but if the licence guy says you can put it up in March and take it down in the end of August, would anybody object to that? I know it's up all the
What I would
time,
say on
but
principle on that is,
That's
yes,
better than
get,
nothing.
get his acceptance to that.
yeah,
And then if we take it down in between and put it
It
back
won't
up,
let
it
we
doesn't
can
matter.
decide, yeah.
But,
Okay.
apply to do that with him. And if he gets a bit iffy about it, tell him we might be taking it down, not too sure.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I'm prepared to propose that we pay this installation fee, and we'd better also agree the fee to take it down at the end as well. So it's
Yeah.
actually, I'm prepared to propose £1,000
Right,
so that we get this in for this year,
Yeah.
up and down once.
yeah.
Whatever happens
All
in
right.
between, we've got to still negotiate. But I'm prepared to propose that.
I'll second it.
yeah.
Okay. And all in favour?
Yeah.
We're all in favour. Right.
Okay, thank you. Right.
And it's a different involved bunting, we'd be so sorry. Wait till we get to Christmas lights, yeah.
I know, I mean, that's,
You haven't heard the whole story. You must hear the whole story sometime about bunting.
So, our Gultros, the use of the hob and Aston discount.
well, I know what I'd like to do, tell them to bugger off
So this,
and pay for it.
is
What's
there
more,
then damage to
they'll be
the...
insured.
Yeah, we had an update further to this.
Are you recording this?
Yes.
Did you told them to bugger off?
Yeah, further to this, we had a meeting with the lady, Francesca, and obviously she was very apologetic, obviously wants it to work, wants it to continue, and she said obviously the people that they're working with are friends, they're not charging because they're obviously trying to set up a business, so they're working on skeleton staff and favours from friends and things. So she said they do need to tighten up on that, and they will tighten up on that. When I spoke to the actual chef, he wasn't sure about the footprints. He said he wasn't sure about the burn mark, but we've spoken to everybody else that uses the
Who else
facilities.
is
There's no one else it
Sorry,
could be.
I'm not up to speed with this. I missed the...
Did you?
I'm not read the email. I missed the email, sorry. So,
Just read it.
There were pictures with it.
Yeah.
Looking at that.
But obviously the most concerning thing, as I state at the end of the email, is first and foremost we can't have preschool children in any kind of danger
No, they can't.
from
I
contamination.
think we have to stop it.
She has, in the meeting that we spoke, because they were supposed to be doing every Saturday, which is it's since they've started a more regular feature that we've had the problems. She's now said that they can't sustain that. It would go back to once a month if we were to let it continue. And the odd private party, because they've had private functions that they've catered for. I don't know, I don't really know much more to say about
So
it.
if they have a private party, presumably they rent the premises
They-
from us, do they pay a party type rate?
No, they've still been paying the flat rate, but I think what they do, they just still charge like they would do with their pop-up restaurant. They charge a head price, I think, for them. I don't know.
I think they've seen us coming.
Well, to be fair, don't quite know.
I know that you've had to take the responsibility for all this.
It's a really good idea and it could work really, really well. I think there was bound to be teething problems at the beginning, and so with a few of the things that happened, we just put it down to its teething issues. We'll make them aware of it and it'll be solvable. But I think in view of all of these things put together, I can't see how we can carry on.
If we were to price getting a new piece of marble,
Yes.
which is what we should be doing, I mean, do it as an exercise.
Yes.
The cost of that.
It's granite, I think, isn't it?
Well,
Not marble,
whatever
granite,
it is.
Yeah. I mean,
Stone,
somebody
call it
said,
stone.
and Francesca did say, she said, get some prices. We'll
Yes, I think-
speak to our insurers.
Yeah.
So, because I think with granite, I
think-
think they can sand it down.
I think
and
we
reseal
should
it.
anyway
Yes.
get
yeah.
them to.
Yeah.
But I think we stop them.
Mm.
I think it's too risky.
What happened with the Queen Vic Hall? They were using that for at least one, didn't they?
Yeah, but then they saw the facilities here and preferred the environment and the atmosphere, and then just put the proposal forward. Would you consider letting us use it? And
So I feel personally that we should go back to using the Queen Vic, because we're trying to develop business in the Queen Vic anyway. This instance here can't be fixed. It's an attitude issue, and you can't fix them.
No.
So personally, I feel we should encourage them. If they want to continue, Queen Vic, even if we lose their business.
This
Yeah.
fridge that they say is dirty, is that the preschool's fridge?
Yes,
Because
apparently.
we gave permission for them to have their own fridge and freezer.
No, yes, they have. They've got the own
Which they
equipment
wanted in
installed.
the
Ashton, yes. They've got their own
in the-
facilities.
What's the other one called?
and-
Not Barnwell, the
Ashton. The Ashton kitchen.
Ashton is the kitchen,
Yeah.
but there's another room where they've got the fridge and freezer in, isn't there? Where our fridges and freezers are in, I think.
No, they're all just in the Ashton room.
Are they?
They haven't
They're
got
all
anything
in
in the
there.
Benfield
They're all
room,
in
yeah.
that room still.
But the
Right.
preschool fridge isn't the what is their own.
It's their own fridge.
So,
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know
yeah,
what they were doing in that fridge.
Well, exactly, and they say they don't use it, but Maureen had done a full clean down before Christmas,
Yeah,
and nobody had been in except for them, and when Maureen came back, the fridge was dirty.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So, I mean, they say they don't use it.
Well, they do
But-
quite clearly.
So,
I think
I
they're
know it,
taking advantage.
maybe three of us on this route, yourself, Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, things they're not paying us a lot, are they? And
No,
if it's,
they're not.
if it's causing us more trouble than it's worth, it's just
Yeah.
not going to...
With respect, they shouldn't be paying us anything because we've already got a lease for that room. We already lease it to the preschool.
Preschool, yeah.
So the fact is, and this came up at a full council some long time ago,
Yeah.
I raised it, that really the preschool could really object to the fact they're paying a lease
Yeah,
on premises and then we go and re-let it to
Yeah.
somebody else.
Just left
And then
yeah.
they're getting these kind of hassles
Problems, yeah.
from it.
yeah.
So I think your suggestion that they go back to QEH
Yeah.
is a very good suggestion.
They won't, I mean, they won't go, if they stop here, they will stop, they won't go back to the Queen's Court because the kitchen.
That's a cost, you know.
I mean, I must admit, everything, all along the line, we did, this was with obviously the preschool's acceptance, and we went through it all.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I did say to Emma, at the time when we made the agreement, Gina never said anything about children with allergies. She never even brought it up because it would have been a no-no straight away back then. If she'd have
Yeah.
said, what is it, she's got one with a fish allergy
Well,
and
she
one with a
might
milk.
not have had
Well,
to then at that.
Maybe, yeah. So for me, that was the biggest issue. I was like, well, we can't use, some people, when they are that allergic, it's even being in the same room as
Yeah.
it can, you know.
Now, when we started the teaching kitchen idea, where they were running classes, cookery classes in there at one stage, it was agreed at Estates, and that's only a couple of years ago, we agreed to split the income from those
lets
of the room, 50-50 with the
Yes,
preschool.
Yeah, I
I don't
remember
know if
that.
they're getting half the money that we get from these people, but
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's not part of this, I don't know whether you've got to pass anything here, but, you know, essentially the
Well,
instructions.
yeah, because the main thing is the preschool can say, no, we are not going to let this carry on.
No, our resolution here is
Yeah.
we're going to stop this carrying on, so I think, you know, it's only a question, do we need a resolution at this meeting?
I
or
think
is it
so,
good?
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
okay,
it should,
so,
yeah.
I'll
so-
propose that we stop it.
Yeah, see,
I'll second
And
it.
I'd like to add that I think they should pay for the
yeah, we
damage.
certainly need the damage stuff to
Yeah,
go through.
they're
the insurance.
reinsured, so it will come from their
All in
insurance.
favour? There you go.
Okay, thank you. Right, volunteer.
So I read this one. My first thought was, how much money are we losing if we close the hub to public between 2 and
No
5?
idea.
On a Wednesday, isn't it? I'm not sure. I'd have to check with the girls. I don't think it's a particularly busy time.
I mean, August is one of the
Quietest month.
months we have a problem with, isn't
Yeah.
it? So actually, if we could make a bit of money from
Yeah.
a bit of extra football.
Have I missed
it'd
it?
be good.
Is that the next thing?
Yes, so it's that one there.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
Perhaps it will print it
18.92
off.
at the
I
bottom.
might just have not have printed it off for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't know about this.
So yeah, it fills a gap in August, and it seems logical.
Yeah.
I was just concerned that we were going to bang a hole in our delicate hub.
I could certainly find out from Paul tomorrow what the average is of what we've taken over.
It doesn't look like they're actually proposing to pay us anything, so they're
No.
No.
asking for it.
Well, they want us to pay for the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just, you know, along the other thought process for me again was Queen Vic.
Mm.
Yeah, so we have a facility that's underutilised with a kitchen in it, you know, and it would be lovely to use that place for this sort of event. is there a problem with them using the Queen Vic?
It's just not got the same atmosphere. People just don't like it as much because the atmosphere. It's essentially a hall, isn't it? A big empty
Well,
echoey hall.
if they're using it for the catering, they'd be in the little lobby area outside, wouldn't they?
It could be, yeah.
It is, you know, we're
Well, no,
downstairs.
it's not enough, it's only big enough for about 3 tables.
Yeah, how many, well,
It's
the
big
hot
enough
It's
for
one
people to
page
stand
to
and
be
mill
running
around,
a
isn't it? But
catering.
how many do they
Yeah, but
want
the hot
in?
cell's not that
Oh,
big,
you're
is it?
talking about the
Volunteer action one,
volunteer
yeah.
action.
So I don't know how many people they're talking
I
about.
don't know, it doesn't say, does it? Well, every bit of feedback I've had from people when I've suggested the Queen Vic as an alternative, they just like the atmosphere here.
Sure, I don't
Like, even-
disagree with that.
Yeah.
You know, but what the guys are trying to do here in putting on a facility for people,
Yeah,
you know, we've got something there that can be done for free. But if, you know, the same balance on that one, if you're saying that we're not doing much training on this anyway,
no,
you know, so it's no real problem to do it.
no.
I would suggest that we should be paying for the staff. We should be doing it on a,
That's what she wants, isn't it? She wants the staff to be there, allowing
no,
the
I
staff.
mean, when I say we, I mean volunteer.
Should be paying for the staff.
Yes, I think so.
Well, you could suggest that to Liz.
Well, I don't know where we are in terms of insurance and the rest of it, of whether volunteers can actually operate the whole.
I mean, that's a point.
So if they went into Queen Vic, their own volunteers would operate it, wouldn't they? You know, because I know, you know, when U3A have the Queen Vic, you know, the volunteers go in, they do the teas and coffees there.
They wouldn't, the thing is, they wouldn't have the training to use the coffee machine and that sort of thing. That's probably why they want our staff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm just wondering whether we could say something like, I'm talking Town Council Act, whether we say something like, in principle, we think it's a good idea, but we ought to look at the costings and see whether it's realistic.
Yeah?
Would that be better? Because then we can go back and say, look, we have to pay the staff.
Yeah.
And we'd be losing this amount of money from
Yeah.
shutting the...
Yeah.
Okay.
But having said that,
Yeah.
the same
Because they want it
argument-
as a closed event, don't they? They want us to close.
Yeah.
Are we
So
going to be
my view
paying,
in that case is that it's,
I think we're always coming around to
realistically-
it now.
if they don't have our staff, are we still going to have to pay our staff from 2 to
that's
4
my point.
to be somewhere else? There is another point here. I mean, we've said, you know, are they capable of running it themselves? We've got to be a bit careful here because I came in here one Sunday to find that somebody else, another organisation behind the counter at the hub, they were using our facilities. They weren't using our materials, our stock, but they were using our facilities, and that's been going on every year since this opened.
Who's that?
And that is ballet, when they have the exams and
exams,
things.
ballet exams, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
So-
that's true.
you need to be very careful here that you don't set a precedent one way or the other. We need to weigh
Yes.
these things, otherwise you
Very
have somebody
careful.
else come in here saying, hang on a minute, you know, can I now
It's
have
the
it
same
with staff?
one, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you provide staff for somebody else to come in and do it. Can I now have your staff on a Sunday to come in and run it while I do the ballet exams?
Yeah. So there seems to be a lot of logic to say that, you know, if you want to do it, you're free of charge, you need to use the Queen Vic. If you want to have the hub, then you need to pay for the staff, you know, when you're in the hub. You know? And
Well,
it's
yes,
only
yes,
because of the,
yeah.
you know, the technical nature of the equipment we've got there.
Yeah, that's a good
And it's a
point.
very expensive washing machine.
Yeah.
Well, gee, you know, that washing machine can be dangerous in order to do it, you know, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so, yeah, if everybody's in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yes, and I think we should do a bit of costing.
But yeah, I'm quite happy just to say they pay for the staff. It's, we can't let the staff have the afternoon off, because we're still going to pay them.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, you know, so if you want to use the hub, you have to pay for the staff.
Okay.
Unless our rotors can be fitted around it so it's still with their normal hours, but then probably we're overstaffing at some other time, which would be silly.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, I've not been in on this at all. But, yeah, I mean, it's quite right if they're thinking, well, obviously we would have to use the hub staff because of the technical stuff.
Yeah, and the Queen Vic's set up for volunteers, so it's better. Right, do we need to pass a resolution?
Yeah, you need to propose that, I think.
Do we need a proposer for that then?
Yeah, you want to propose it.
I'll propose that then, okay, and what's seconder? Seconder, right, and all in favour? So let's get through these technicalities.
Very
You're right.
important, these technicalities.
Somebody told me, yeah. Right.
Yeah, just to go back to that, see, the lunch club doesn't operate during the summer months because the school's closed.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was an idea, is to give people the same sort of contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now this one I don't get. The use of Herne Road car park.
And it's used by Fairlines. So the Longstay car
Long
park.
stay,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Herne Road, is it?
Herne Park it is,
Herne
sorry.
Park.
It's
Is it?
East
Right.
Road Herne Park. Sorry, it's my
Right.
fault.
Yeah.
We keep getting complaints
We
from
did-
people.
We did a previous meeting, we said we'd write to...
Yeah, I think Emma's been in touch with someone at Fairline and they ensured her that they were sending an email out to each of the
Yeah.
employees,
But it's not...
but it's not worked.
It's not
So Emma has asked if we can put it on here with the view of maybe one or two councillors having a meeting with somebody at Fairline.
I'll tell you where I am on this. I mean, it was one of the things I wanted to address during this year, but there's so much other stuff going on, so we've not really done much about it, have we? I personally think we should write to them and say that if they don't start sticking with the rules, we'll change it to a 4-hour stay or a 6-hour stay or something, and we'll put camera enforcement on it, and we'll find people who are abusing it. Because I'm pretty sure that would be cost effective. I mean, you can get companies that will do that for you. This parking,
With a couple of extra hours of Deborah's time.
Well, pay them.
She would go down there and she would do it.
Yeah, the problem is
Ideally.
we can't enforce that, can we?
No,
We
you
can't
need
issue
order.
penalty. You need to do a professional job. You need to have the
We
warning
can't
signs.
with cameras either.
She can
We
go,
can't
she can go
enforce
back
it.
to, she can go back to
Can't do
Fairline with
enforcement.
vehicle numbers.
We could enforce, but it's the cost of the enforcement that is the problem.
Okay. Well, look, I think the principle is correct. You know, we need to be saying to
I
them.
think, you know, we're have to look into the practicalities of it, but I think there's no reason why we couldn't write to Fairline and say, look, we're fed up with it, and if we don't see
Well, we could
improvements,
threaten to claim.
then we'll look at enforcement
Threaten to
opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, that's the way to put
That's the
it.
phrase, yeah.
Yeah.
Enforcement opportunities.
Say that again,
Leave it
Joe.
to their
please, Sam.
imagination.
Yeah, well, unless the situation improves, we're going to look at enforcement options, and we'll start to
Implement
take
them.
measures to implement whatever can be done, clamping or penalty notices.
You're proposing that, are you?
Yeah.
I'll
No,
second it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll second it.
In favour of the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll need to look into what the practicalities of it are. I mean,
Yeah.
if we find out what we can legally do and whether it's, you might be right, you might not be financially viable, but
We've gone into the cost of going to court to actually enforce is just
yeah,
totally prohibitive.
but
I'm all for doing
there's
it,
lots and lots of these
believe me, but,
companies that have got
we've
these
looked at it.
cameras on private car parks, haven't they?
oh
And
yeah,
they're-
but we've always resisted that. It's,
Yeah, no.
they can take advantage of, yeah.
Well, don't too much of people
look,
who
I think
are
we've got
break
to
the
look,
rules.
I think we've got to look at all the actions.
Yeah.
But I don't think we haven't looked.
Is the main issue with them parking there because they don't want to go on the 605
Yes.
car park? So it's
If they're
just,
coming from Corby direction, it's easier to park there than it is to go on to 605.
And they haven't got to wait to
Especially
get out
now,
onto the...
especially now,
Yeah.
can you imagine
More
it's
so
worse
now.
now because
Now
of
it's
the...
probably much worse.
Now, just on, the stick and carrot, yeah, the other thing that I had raised a few times was the issue of opening access to their car park onto that same road. You know, it seems to me it's extremely logical, you know, to bring an exit out there so they can use their own car park.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just on the double whammy, if we've got a weekend event going on, we could possibly use their car park. Because their car park is gated the other end to their premises,
Right.
So there's a potential of a win-win situation here.
So has nobody's ever approached them before about that then?
I don't believe we
different
have,
entry?
but to my knowledge we haven't had a conversation with them about it. But I need you guys to be at least behind the concept.
Maybe it would be a better option then to actually try and arrange a meeting
Yeah, that's what I was
and then
just
talk and
thinking.
go through this, because rather than writing them all in, let's go down and sit down with them.
Yeah,
And
maybe
say-
you can go and have a
So arrange a meeting and
So look,
change
yeah, so
the...
undo the last one. Yeah. Jerry and myself will go and.
You want to rescind that, do you?
Well,
Don't call it rescind, you've got to wait 6 months before you can revisit.
Sorry?
Diplomacy.
Yes, I
It's
mean,
not-
we'll try everything.
It doesn't really change the
We'll
resolution,
try
it's just that rather than doing it right, we'll do it.
Arrange a meeting.
I mean, it could be
Yeah.
that some of the people who abuse it are from Solomon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have we talked to Solomon?
Yeah,
well,
We don't know.
I'm sure that is Solomec's car park, but they don't
It's
have
not
many.
Solomon car park.
No, how they
Maybe that's how they
employees,
regard
but
it.
they don't have many people working there. Is
No,
the
but,
thing.
but
But it-
the point about that car park is that when school opened down there,
Yeah, they.
we talked a lot.
Yeah.
And the idea was then that otherwise, if we didn't have a car park there, they would be letting the children out onto that very narrow road. And so the more pressure there is on the spaces in the car park, the more dangerous the road
No, I
becomes.
think it would be good to have a conversation with them, because we've also got in our planning committee this thing about them putting their porta cabins up,
Yeah.
so they're increasing the office space by taking up car parking spaces in that action.
Well, and also be more people. Well,
So let's go and have a chat and see if we can make.
you could still make the point that we've got to look at, it will force us into looking at options,
Yeah.
as Jerry
Yeah.
suggests.
Right, okay. Very sad letter here about the MOT on our.
Well, it's not that sad, it's passed.
These are all advisories rather
But
than...
it's definitely,
Yeah.
as I read this, it's passed itself.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I thought,
I think we haven't done it that way.
And it's only done 49,000.
It's the older one, isn't it?
It's 15 years
Well, I
old.
suppose it is.
Everything's relative, isn't it?
15 years old, it's only done 50,000 miles.
It's got very low mileage, I must admit.
Very
I did
low
I go on to, because did I send you the quote as well?
And it doesn't do any
No,
long.
put the advisories right.
It's
So
all popping round.
£850.68 if we put all those advisories right, which we, like you say, we don't have to do until
Next year.
next time. However, and I thought it might be time to start looking, but I did go on to Auto Trader, and for vehicles with this low mileage, you're looking at about £3,000. Because Emma was saying, have a look, and if they're around about £1,000 to buy, then it's not worth it for the same like for like. But because it's got such low mileage, I mean, most of the ones I was looking at this age, they're well over 100,000 miles on the clock, so it is
Yeah.
low mileage. So we did wonder whether it is worth. But again, it's all just putting it to you early, so that we're not, rushing into doing something later.
If it was my vehicle, I'd look for a two-year-old replacement.
Yeah.
And try and chop it for a newer one, because it's not going to get any better. It's
No.
15 years old with all those things this year,
Yeah.
you're going to end up even longer this next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Trade it in for a somewhat
newer
newer
model.
one,
Yeah.
a second hand.
Yeah. Okay.
I think is probably the
And
answer.
there's no hurry, because we've got 12,
No,
we've got
that's
12
it.
months.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, that's why we wanted to put it on now.
Yeah.
We just thought if we start talking about it now, then we'll be nice and organised. We won't have it.
Yeah, I'll speak out the other way to keep their eyes open for a nice 2-year-old, relatively low mileage replacement.
Yeah, but not a silver one. So if you've heard the story about a silver one, there's a there's a silver Ford Transit Connect that's been involved in a whole load of the wrong.
Okay, perfect.
Alright,
Thank
so
you.
yeah, no rush, but yeah, we need
Just have a look and then bring
have
it
a
to
plan
you.
before the next
I mean, if they
MOT.
leave the gold bars in the back.
Litter picking?
Yeah, Emma had set the date for the 31st, and it was published I think, was it the Oracle or one?
We will be going in the Oracle. It's
Yeah.
not mine, it's-
Too
no,
late.
sorry, the advertiser, I think it is.
That's it, too late to withdraw, and then we realised it was Mothering Sunday, but Emma said we'll just let it go ahead anyway. If it's not particularly successful, we'll arrange another one later in the year. The approval to purchase our own equipment is because apparently this stuff that was provided last year was very inferior and not very good at all. So Emma said, you know, maybe we should invest in our own litter picking stuff. They have phoned her today or emailed her today to say they'll bring 20 sets over. But again, we don't know what kind of quality and condition they'll be in. Emma said a lot of them weren't very good at all last time. So yeah, so she wondered whether it would be worth actually having our own stuff.
So how much are we paying at the moment to borrow it?
I don't think we have to pay anything. I think
Oh.
it's just on like loan from ENC.
Yeah.
But we looked at the cost. I think there's between the actual picker-uppers are between £9 and £15, and then the hoops that you put the reusable sacks on, they're about the same, about £10. Varying degrees of quality, obviously, but if you went somewhere in the middle.
Okay, any views around the table?
It doesn't seem a bad idea to have our own, to be honest, because then it's easier than just to organise things.
Storage is the problem though.
Yeah.
We have not got storage.
Yeah, I think we could.
Bicycle racks and the people who hire they'll go ballistic.
I think this sort of thing could be stored at the workshop. To be fair, I don't think they take up an awful lot of space. I mean, when they were delivered last year, I remember we managed to store 20 of each in the photocopy room without too many issues. So they're not massive or anything.
No, I mean if we buy some, then
Yeah,
that's a more of an issue because they'll be there all the time. That's what
I think the maintenance team would be able to put them, you know, and hopefully when we get the new building, we'll have even more space.
So you just feel that 10 isn't enough to do a full round, so we're still going to have to borrow some as well, are we?
Well, to be fair, I don't think that many people turned up to the litter pick last year, did they? There wasn't.
No, I didn't.
There wasn't a huge amount of people, from what I gather. I didn't go either. I couldn't go.
I did, but there weren't, no. I think 10 would have been enough, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're proposing it, are you?
I think so, yeah, that seems sensible to me. I mean, in some respects it's a little bit of a case of I want to support the staff. If the staff think that's the best thing to do, I think you guys are probably better qualified to comment than I am, really. You know, if you think it's the right thing to do and it'll be a way forward, then I'm happy to support it.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Do
So
second.
about 10 cents?
I don't mind.
Proposer?
Yeah.
Seconder?
I'll second it.
I'll be in favour.
Yeah, we're all in favour. Right.
Okay.
It did feel to me on a lot of this voluntary stuff is that the people that we're giving grants to during the year should be invited, you know, to contribute to some of
To
these
help with
events.
things like that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, doesn't mean that they've got to come and do it. You could always do litter picking as a punishment, couldn't you?
Well, still do you not?
Oh, they do
go
litter
out
pick
every
for punishment.
Sunday, do
Right, yeah,
you? That's their punishment for
yeah.
being caught drinking
Yeah,
or having a smoke or
Peter
whatever.
Hill does the same. I don't know what penance he's doing it for. Yeah, okay. Right, reusable plastic cups. We talked a little bit about this while in the warm-up. I must admit, I've lost the plot a little bit on it. When I found out the reusable cups were plastic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of plastic they are, whether they're 100% biodegradable or whatever. I think with this one, I think maybe we wait and see what happens
Well, they
with
won't
Rowan.
be biodegradable if they're reusable, will they?
No, they've
No,
got to be
solid.
fixed. Yeah, water soluble.
Sorry.
So, go on then.
I don't.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, where are we with this? I mean, I wasn't in the conversation earlier on, you were.
No, well, I've struggled to get this chap to come back to me, the Green Goblet person, but apparently that's who Rowan's dealing with, and she said he's given them a unit price. Obviously, it depends on how many you order, but for a half pint glass, 64p each. When we were saying earlier you charge them for a pound,
Yeah.
Emma was saying that she suggested if we did it for the Christmas market, we'd get in contact with all of the people that do sell drinks and ask them to be on board with it. Have a store that sells them, so they would direct people to the store they pay £1, they either keep the cup or they bring it back and they get their £1 back. So it would cover the costs. But again, we're not sure whether it's something, it's definitely a way that we want to go forward, because she said it's a good way of promoting our events as well, that we're, got rid of single-use plastic. And she's, as I say, spoken to Rowan, but I don't know whether she wants to maybe see what happens with Rowan, because Rowan was going to do it for the Party in the Wharf. They weren't going to do it for the food festival, they were going to just trial it at the Party of the Wharf and order, I think, an initial 400 and see how it went.
Because the brochure for the festival, the music festival, says in that at the front that they will be using reusable cups. And I don't think it just says Party of the Wharf.
Oh, right, okay.
I ordered them, but I haven't got the thing with me.
No, no, I spoke to Emma just before I left this evening,
Okay.
and she said something about Nean Valley Brewery not being keen on it.
Okay.
Which that lady that was
Alison
here at
said she
Alison
would
said
take
she
that
would
away
take that
because
up with them.
The fellow tenants.
Yeah.
So the only other thing in this one is I can't imagine us taking all the cups back and washing them.
Yes, you've still got to wash them.
Yeah, and you
Through the
can't-
new dishwasher.
you
Yeah,
can't-
with the new dishwasher.
you can't store them wet, so they're
No.
going to be dry, and then when you bring them out again,
And
they've got
again,
to be
where are we
hygienic.
going, where are we going to store them?
I think the
Storage
concept,
is a hell of a
as the beer festival has it, it only sells them. So one way travel, and it's same with Waitrose, isn't it? Waitrose will sell you a cup,
Yeah.
but we don't do it as
But
a.
you store it in your car, you see, don't you?
Yeah.
I suppose the hope is that somebody would keep it and reuse it, and then
Yeah.
you wouldn't have that hassle, but that's not always going to work. I can't imagine that many people by the end of an event like that they're going to go back to the store to get their £1 back, to be quite frank. But whether they would actually keep it and use it, and we're not just adding some more, it's not more single-use plastic, I don't know.
Yeah.
A percentage of them will still bin it, I should think, and a percentage of them will go back, and another percentage will take them home.
I think we should hold fire for this, because particularly if the festival's trying it.
Well, let
they're-
them
they're-
have
they're
their
bigger.
trial.
Yeah.
They're a bigger organisation really than our markets, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought 400 Party of the Wharf is going to be run out of cups. I thought that's all they're ordering.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers were last year.
400 isn't very many, is it?
It seems to have dwindled, doesn't it, as the time's gone by.
I mean, people do take their own drinks as well, of course, so I suppose it's not.
Yeah, most people take picnics, don't they, in their own bits and pieces. Okay, so just hold fire and see.
Yeah, I
don't think it's easy to actually manage this thing.
No.
So you might say something to the stall holders that they shouldn't use single use, but even then,
Well, that's what Emma said. She said if someone then turns round, we had the same discussion about selling reusable coffee cups here, maybe charging £5, and then basically giving them 10% off every time they reuse it, kind of thing. So it will take a while for them to cover their costs.
Yeah.
But then you have the issue where if somebody comes in and says, well, no, I don't want that. I want a disposable cup. What do you do? And you could have that there, couldn't you? If the Prosecco bar gets somebody and they say, oh, just go over there and purchase your reusable cup and then come back, they might say, I don't want to do that. And then you put them in a predicament, don't you? They're not going to turn away a sale.
No, I've got to the front of the queue here, I'd
Yeah.
like my drink please.
Now.
Stick it in a disposable cup, and I'll have
Yeah.
it, and I'll throw the cup away.
Oh, so leave this for now.
Yeah.
The general
Yeah.
conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
The action plan. I like the action plan. Yeah. As long as the spreadsheet format is here, I can do that. Okay, so let's go down the action plan then. So we start with the workshop.
They've been notified. Just an update again on that today though. I think we are going to need somebody who project manages the whole thing. I've spoken to the chap who does the health and safety plan for us, just to pick his brains on various things that I was struggling with. Just basically getting the services, Anglian Water, filling the forms in, knowing what has to go where and when and who needs to be involved in it. It's a big job, and I've no experience. Emma and I, with yourselves, thought we could kind of work our way through it, but it's a full-time.
It is.
You've got to be on it constantly.
I probably sort of said that last time, but
Yeah, and he said, he gave me an example, I think it was Crowland Town Council, who were building a workshop on their allotments, and they insisted that they just do it all themselves, and he said they ended up getting themselves in a bit of a pickle and hiring somebody in the end anyway. So my feeling on that is, I said to Emma, we need somebody who knows exactly whether it's the main contractor, because he says a lot of these main contractors, they go in and they know from the ground up what they're doing, what needs to go where. So I said to Emma about, you know, starting to look into somebody that can take it from the beginning right through to the end.
So do you need any help?
Well, once I get some good names, because that's the other thing, this chap was really good today actually. He said, I'm at the stage of my life where I'm happy to give you some free advice. I was like, excellent. So he said he was going to come and have a meeting with Emma and I. He should be able to give me some suggestions, because he said even some of these bigger companies that you think are authorised to do the things that they do, they're not on the, it's like, I suppose it's like a conveyancing solicitor and things like that. They've got to be on an approved list before you can use them. So if I have a meeting with him and pick his brains about people he's used in the past, hopefully we'll be able to get some good names and good suggestions.
So essentially, to my mind, you're looking for a prime contractor. He's going to charge you for it.
Of course, yeah.
But he should be one that's doing some of the work, rather than have somebody outside. So if the man that's doing the groundworks is capable of being prime contractor, let him.
Yeah.
We know putting the building up is relatively simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a bold job.
I'm hearing this right, because local authorities tend to have preferred contractors. That's what you're talking about.
And he was saying even like Anglian Water as well, main sewers and things like that, they're very fussy on who is on their approved list for doing it.
All right. Well, don't let it go too far before you get hold of myself or Jerry.
No, that's fine.
Get some advice.
Okay.
Okay. So bicycle stands we've done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can I just say a bit about, in case I forget it any other time, the bus shelter in the middle of the marketplace? I chose those. I didn't choose it so big, that was down to the clerk, but I chose the clear acrylic so that our beautiful views would not be blocked. So I'm not massively happy about a bicycle rack attached to the bus shelter, because that will destroy the whole idea of having a bus shelter that you can see through to the bookshop and the views in the town.
It'll still be a space frame type thing. It's not going to be a steel wall. They're not going to.
So but when it's full of bicycles,
yes,
then there will be a blockage.
But we're back into this problem. We want to put bicycles in the town
I realise that,
wherever
but
you
we
put
have
them,
to look
you're
at
going to
all
be
the
blockage.
aspects, you see.
And
we don't have to have lots of bicycle racks.
No.
Because most of the bicycles who come into town will come on a Sunday. They don't want to buy anything apart from one drink in a cafe. They don't contribute to the income of the town.
But people like myself, I want to have my bike.
Oh,
in town.
yes, fine. Oh, yeah, I'm all for bikes outside Tesco's.
You're all for
all
me
day.
in town.
But I need to say the bus shelters were chosen with huge care.
No, I think
you could see the vistas of the town.
No, the aesthetics of what we're putting in, whether it's the one down the bus shelter or any of the others, is the
We
same.
need to look at.
Yes, we don't want ugly things in our town.
Well, no, it's about blocking the view. I'm not talking about whether they look pretty or not. I'm talking about having done a lot of work on a particular aspect of the town. I would feel quite upset if suddenly somebody wiped it out and said, bugger that, we don't care. That's how I feel. And it wouldn't just be me, be the people who worked on it.
Okay. Coffee machines, we've had the 3 quotes, haven't we? And you've asked them for a discount.
Yeah, they wouldn't use our machine and recondition it and resell it. He said the damage from the line scale and everything, they wouldn't want to do that. However, he has said they will knock £100 off the installation, delivery and installation for us. But that's all they're prepared to do.
Sorry, I thought the price that we were quoted included delivery and installation.
No, there was it was £240 on top of the price. It was in the quote. I haven't got it with me now.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so they've ordered it, and she said, leave it with me, I'll come back to you. And she came back, and it was 240 plus that for delivery, installation and removal of old machines. So they've knocked £100 off that fee for us.
Right. I don't feel we can negotiate much else from where we're sitting.
No.
So, all right. So,
If the machine had been in better condition, then they perhaps would have considered it. But he said we don't feel confident with that. That's the whole issue of why it's broken down, isn't it? The line scale build up. So.
all right. Nothing more than
Okay.
that. Animal Museum Courthouse lease.
So that's with the museum now, so
Yeah.
to come back and
Yeah.
say, you've seen the correspondence.
Yeah.
I basically said a bit more detail, please.
Bunting we've done.
Yeah.
And the notice board, we've got a good result there.
Yeah, I'm making myself.
Take it down and burn it, was it?
Yeah, take about, I've emailed maintenance, although one of maintenance is off at the minute, and said to take them down. And I happened to bump into the resident that had suggested he would be happy to make another one, and I've said to him, you need to deal directly with the lady who owns the house.
Yeah. Very good. You're well managed. And the last one there, the CCTV.
Yes, Emma and I realised when we looked, so we've got the most recent quote in, and then I went back to the CBL, I think it is, who gave us the first quote over a year and a half ago to say, is this an up-to-date quote? When we actually looked at them like for like, it was completely different systems,
Right.
so they weren't like for like. So I've now gone back to the old one that we got a quote for and said, this is what we've been quoted for, as in equipment, can you give us a like for like quote? So I'll come back to you. I don't know why we've got 2 quotes for.
Well, I know the
different
technologies
systems.
were changing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of eyes you had and where they
Yeah.
were looking. Yeah, so
It's one of
it's
these things.
understandable.
It's one of these things that's getting cheaper and cheaper over time, isn't it? So the longer we delay it, the cheaper it costs us.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's ongoing.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Any other business then?
Just so we don't get confused in later years, JH contacted JH to arrange a meeting. If you could just put
Jerry,
Jane
yeah.
Hutton
Councillor
contacted
Hutton, yeah.
Jane
Yeah, John Hutman, yeah.
Hutton, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yes.
JH.
Okay. All right, we'll close the meeting then. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, one.
Just one more thing. Any other business? Emma just asked me quickly to mention the Vintage Festival have asked if they can use the New Road Recreation Park for parking on the 18th of May. And she suggested we say what we normally say, which is subject to the weather not being too wet, that would be fine. Because obviously it's a town thing, so and we use that rec for
Just to raise an issue on that event, they were talking about the one-way system, and when we did it, we had to pay £5,000.
Chevron, yeah.
We're not. Who's paying for that this time?
They're not. They were picking my brains earlier. They said about signage. I think they thought all the signage we had for the Christmas market was ours. So they said, could we borrow whatever signage you've got? And I said, well, the 3 road closed signs, you're more than welcome to have, because the rest of it was all Chevron. Yeah, they are thinking of doing it, but they're not quite sure how they're going to sign it.
So we don't have to get involved.
No,
And
they
they'll
were
marshal it as well.
yeah, they're looking after it entirely. They were just asking us for advice and
No, that's
what we
fine.
did.
We'll do
So,
that.
yeah.
They, they asked about using the rec, but they didn't ask about using Pepper Field.
No,
That's the other option, isn't it? Because that would work quite well for the...
yeah,
Yeah. When was the last time we used it for?
Christmas market,
Christmas
yeah.
market. I just think that's a bit more convenient, isn't it? for people?
It is, a
You're
lot
more
more
likely to get people to park on that because it's closer.
closer, yeah.
But that's not ours, the recreation ground is
Is
ours.
ours.
That's,
Yeah,
That's
you only
not
have
we
to
don't
apply,
ask
you just
council.
have to apply.
To the county council.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gives you a little certificate saying, on the same basis, that as long as it's not too wet, then you can use it.
okay. Yeah, good point to use it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But with that, then we close the meeting? Yes?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. These are our